All right, so thank you for clicking on this link and joining me in this recorded session. The goal this evening is to just kind of give you a day at the Kilmer Lower during hybrid instruction so that as we have more students come in our buildings, March 1st, we all understand what it's going to look like. So when we're thinking about reopening and opening our doors March 1st for K0 through grade 3, we've been thinking about three focus areas. One, first and foremost, is safety. So both students' physical safety and their emotional safety, so it's meeting students' social emotional needs. And joy, recognizing that many of our students have not been in the building for some of them almost a year, to make sure that we have joy and laughter and that all of our students and staff are happy and smiling. And then obviously we want students to be engaged in fun and engaging hybrid instruction. So as a reminder that students in grades K0 through 3rd grade will be returning next week, March 1st, which we're really excited about. Some of our students are going to be placed in Cohort A, and Cohort A meets on Mondays and Tuesdays. Some students will be in Cohort B, which meets Thursdays and Fridays. And some students will report on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then all students will be remote on Wednesdays. And we're thinking about our cohorts. We balance them based on number of students, obviously, students' gender, and family requests. We did our best to meet everyone's family requests. We were able to meet most of those requests, which we're obviously really excited about. And as you're reading here, each cohort, depending on grade level and classroom type, consists of 5 to 10 students per Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday. And our instructional day will continue to be 9:30 to 4:10. So obviously, you'll be coming to school either by bus or walking. Some of you will be walking, some of you will be dropped off by a family member. So we're going to talk about arrival procedures. I'm not going to obviously read the slide to you, but buses will arrive, come through the back behind the Kilmer and pull up along the side, kind of driveway, so to speak, of the Kilmer School. And then obviously we'll have staff members outside to offload students, to welcome them to the school, and to make sure they go where they need to go. Most students will be heading straight into the building using the main entrance to their classrooms. Some of our lower grade students, such as Ms. White's class, will be using her door that's along the playground area, that door that goes directly to her classroom. And we want to make sure that our homeroom teachers will be outside their classroom doors to welcome our students as they arrive into the building. Just as a reminder for those families who are dropping students off, we refer to these students as walkers, that we will not have any adults outside until 9:20 a.m. So if you come earlier, please make sure you stay with your child until 9:20. And then at 9:20, walkers will enter through the cafeteria door and head to their classrooms using the main stairwell at 9:20. And as a reminder, there's plenty of parking in and around the Kilmer Lower. Just please do not use our side driveway, and please make sure you're not blocking any of our neighbors' driveways. We want to make sure we're respectful to our neighbors, so thank you ahead of time for understanding this expectation. And sadly, as we all know by now, we cannot have any visitors into our building. Obviously, you are more than welcome to come to the building as needed for either campus. And when you do so, we just ask that you buzz the front door and one of our admin clerks or our administrator will come down to assist you. So once students have arrived in our building, all students will be provided with the breakfast, regardless of what time they arrive at school. Obviously, we want students to arrive on time, but regardless of what time they come to school, they'll be offered a breakfast. No child will be denied a breakfast. Our early childhood classrooms and other classrooms will have breakfast brought up to their actual classroom. And then some students will have an option of walking to the cafeteria to grab their breakfast and bring it up to their classroom. So regardless if their students are getting their breakfast themselves or it's being brought to them, that students will be eating breakfast for now in their classroom. And then just thinking about once they're in their classroom, we're going to kind of shift gears and talk about instruction for a little bit. So as hopefully you all know and been experiencing, our staff has been working extremely hard as we're trying to unpack the complexities of hybrid instruction. When we're thinking about our instructional models, they'll obviously differ based on grade, classroom type, developmental appropriateness, so on and so forth. Each homeroom teacher, some of our homeroom teachers have already done so, but we'll be reaching out to our families just to let you know what your child needs to bring to school on Monday or Thursday of next week, give you a better understanding of what instruction will look like, and share with you any adjusted routines, etc., that you would need to know about. And just as a reminder, we really appreciate your continued support and patience. Just be mindful again that we are continuously to kind of reflect on and hone our craft and making adjustments to our practice in terms of our instruction. So again, thank you for your patience, and we'll continue to make sure we're providing the best possible instruction to our students, whether they're in person or learning remotely. And then as we kind of shift gears and have more and more students in our building, we're going to try to do our very best to find a balance between having students sitting in front of a screen as opposed to getting face-to-face instruction. So as we kind of develop our skill set around this, we're going to try to move more towards students having more time face-to-face and less time on their screen. So they're going to come to school, they're going to have breakfast, they're going to go to class, and then they're going to have lunch and recess. So starting this Monday, all students will be eating in classrooms or outside, weather permitting, and it's a beautiful day today, so hopefully the snow will be melting. We'll be able to use our green space here at the lower building. And then the following week, we're going to work with our cafeteria manager and see if we can start to get more of our students to eat their lunches in the cafeteria. Again, trying to gain some normalcy in a school day. Obviously, we'll be adhering to social distancing requirements just to make sure that we're getting kids out of their classrooms, so they're not eating breakfast, having instruction, eating lunch, and they're spending most of the time in the classroom. We want to get them out and about as much as possible. So we'll be making that adjustment come the second week of March. And obviously, we want to make sure that we're supervising our students effectively. Each lunch recess time will be supervised by our 3 lunch monitors, our student support pair, Mr. Hooker, classroom pairs based on the classroom type, and whenever possible, myself and Ms. Moses will be joining our students and staff outside during lunch and recess. And here, I also included our lunch schedules. And just as a reminder, each class has at least 25 minutes of recess every day, and we'll be trying to get them outside as much as possible. Again, trying to get them out of the classroom and bring some joy and smile to their faces, right? At this time, unfortunately, we will not be able to provide playground equipment. However, as the slide says, that all of our lunch monitors have been trained by Playworks, one of our partners, just to offer students a wide variety of games to play during recess, so not just kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs, that we get them moving and engaged in structured, fun activities. We'll also provide students with opportunities to have a mask break, not only during lunch recess time, but throughout the day. Obviously practicing social distancing and adhering to district and state mandates about mask breaks. And at this time, we are going to allow our younger students to play in our play structure. We have a routine where we're going to wipe it down. We have a little mini fogger to make sure it's sanitized, make sure it's a safe place for kids to play. And as it says here, we'll make sure it's wiped down between each recess. So, when students come back from lunch and recess, they have a special. Some students have specials in the morning and afternoon, some mostly in the morning, mostly in the afternoon. But regardless, your child will continue to receive 6 specials per week, depending on their grade level. They would have a combination of art, science, music, PE, foreign language, and robotics. Some of our specialist teachers will be providing instruction within students' homeroom, especially those general education classrooms where there is not a para or a second adult in the classroom. Other specialist teachers will provide instruction remotely from their workspace within the building. And then during the week of March 8th, similarly to the cafeteria piece, we'll be looking to see how we can get students out of their homerooms and into our art room and into our science room. So you'll hear more about that in the following week. And then specialist teachers will continue to communicate with our families as to what their instruction model look like and what resource they should have at home and everything in between. So after a great day of school, we're going to go through dismissal. We're going to stagger our dismissal process, again, to try to keep students social distancing. We're going to set this process at 4:05. We want to make sure, obviously, that every day our dismissal is safe and smooth, so we have staff around the building to facilitate dismissal. And again, just like with arrival, if you're planning on picking up your child, please adhere to those same parking expectations. And again, this is kind of a snippet as to where students are going to go. And again, we'll have adults throughout the building to make sure our bus students know where they're going and where our walkers are going. And if you're picking up your child, if you're facing the building, all the walkers will be dismissed by the playground main door. So if you're facing the building, to your left. And then again, thinking about our focus areas of safety, physical and emotional safety, joy, and engaging in fun hybrid instruction. I want to talk a little bit about the safety piece. So we want to make sure that you all understand that all of our classrooms have the appropriate mandated cleaning supplies, including window fans, air purifiers for circulating the air, and that our teachers have worked extremely hard to rearrange their physical classroom setup to support social distancing. All staff have the appropriate mandated PPE, and each campus has a PPE point person to ensure that we have appropriate PPE in stock for both students and our staff. And then all staff have been trained in state and district mandates just to make sure we're adhering those mandates and to make sure that kids and staff and students are safe. And as we kind of continue with the physical and emotional safety, our nurses will continue to ensure that we have the most up-to-date information on COVID-19. I've embedded in the slide deck, and it's within our Kilmer Google Family Drive, a great resource to check out in terms of just at-home safety tips and anything in between, kind of a more user-friendly document, knowing that we're desperately trying not to overwhelm you with information. And as you see here, each campus has directionality signs, so directional signs, so that we have one staircase designated to go up, one staircase designated to go down, and then we'll be putting floor stickers in kind of like hotspot areas, such as the picture to my right here is a picture of the cafeteria. So when students are kind of waiting in line to pick up their lunch, hopefully they're going to take it outside at some point, that they're just mindful of their social distancing. And then obviously we want to spend a lot of time not only welcoming students back and meeting their social emotional needs, but also making sure they're well aware of the numerous changes that we've had to make based on our current reality, that we'll be explicitly teaching and modeling these practices such as wearing masks, social distancing, hand washing with soap and water, etc. And then we've already started to do this work with Ms. Wyman as providing some grade level appropriate health education lessons. And I've embedded the slide deck in the PowerPoint, as well as the slide deck is in our family resource folder as well for you to refer to. Ms. Wyman's made some tweaks to it, but as you look at the slide deck, kind of get a general understanding of how we're going to support kids as they transition back to the school, knowing that many of our students haven't been inside a building for almost a year. So we want to make sure they can quote unquote play school. And that although we still have all these procedures, we're still going to try to make sure we maintain some normalcy within our school day as best as possible. And then obviously we have several different procedures, including fire drills, medical emergency, shelter in place, so on and so forth, that we will share these dates when we have the drills with you, our family, so that you know, and then all staff are aware of what these procedures are as well. So again, we're going to continue to meet our students' social emotional needs, and that's extremely important, as I mentioned, knowing that most of our students have not been in the building for a year. We've all handled this pandemic differently. If you go back to the 3 areas of focus, we put those in strategically. And first and foremost is students' physical and emotional safety. So we want to make sure we're meeting their social emotional needs. And we'll do so by using our open circle curriculum, having check-ins with students as needed, and we're continuing to make adjustments to our tiered responses to students' social emotional needs, knowing that each student needs something a little different. And please continue to let us know how we can support your child as we transition back to school. Partnering with our families is extremely important. And while we have made significant adjustments to our policies and procedures, as I already mentioned, we'll continue to make sure that every classroom has a warm, loving, and supportive environment. We know we already have an incredible staff that will do this work, and I know our staff will continue to do this work with a smile. And as I kind of mentioned throughout this brief presentation, I'll be dropping in many different resources in our Kilmer Family Drive, such as this PowerPoint slide deck. I also shared with you a document for Q&A, and I'll be answering those questions as well this evening and tomorrow morning so that we have the smoothest transition back into our building as possible. And with that, I want to thank you. I hope you enjoy this brief recording. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out to myself or Ms. Moses directly, and have a great evening. Thank you.